Good morning. Welcome to Talkline on the Metro News Radio Network.
Do not attempt to change the station. You are surrounded.
We interrupt this program to bring you an emergency news bulletin. Repeat, this is an emergency bulletin. Keep your radio turned on.
Holy smoke.
From the studios of the West Virginia Radio Corporation and the Metro News Radio Network, the voice of West Virginia, comes the most powerful radio show in West Virginia. This is Metro News Talkline with Hoppy Kercheval.
Check set lineup link. Activated Telos telephone. Switch network control from Charleston to Morgantown.
Stand by. Cue Hoppy. You're on.
Good morning. Welcome to Talkline on Metro News in and around the great state of West Virginia. Hoppy Kercheval with you. Joe Nelson, our producer, Commander Cody, handling the video stream. You can watch us at wvmetronews.com. Coming up today, live show. We're on the job. And most of our show is going to be Christmas-oriented. What I'm going to try to do today is reintroduce you to some of our Metro News personalities, if you will, people who you hear on Talkline a lot, and see if we can find out some more about them. We're going to try that. I'm going to put my interview skills to the test today with them on this special Christmas show. And we can exchange Christmas wishes. As always, 1-800-765-8255. Email talkline at wvmetronews.com. Tweet me at Hoppy Kercheval. Text me 304-TALK-304. But first up this morning, we are going to do some news. Yesterday, I reported to you in a commentary that I thought it was very likely that Booth Goodwin, the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of West Virginia, would soon enter the race for the Democratic nomination for governor in West Virginia. Already, you have Jeff Kessler in there, the Democratic minority leader from Marshall County, and also Jim Justice, the Greenbrier Resort owner. And my source on that story primarily was Chuck Smith, the Charleston CPA, former chairman of the state Democratic Party. He's among those who are pushing Goodwin to enter the race. He told me, Chuck did, I, along with a number of other people, am encouraging him. I feel very confident he is going to run. Now, Goodwin hasn't said anything yet publicly. He's the U.S. attorney. The moment, if he did get in the race, the moment he said he was in the race, he'd have to leave that U.S. attorney's position. Chuck Smith, Charleston CPA, former state Democratic Party chairman, joins us on Talkline this morning. Chuck, good morning. Merry Christmas to you and your family. Thanks for coming on.
Good morning to you, Hoppy.
Thank you, Chuck. Thank you, sir.
Audience.
Thank you very much. Is Booth Goodwin going to run for the Democratic nomination for governor?
I feel very confident that he's going to run. I mean, you know, West Virginia has lost population 5 out of the last 5 years. We've lost so much population that we're going to lose a congressional seat. We have the highest unemployment in the country. Our budget is in a total disarray. Southern West Virginia is a war zone of poverty and hopelessness. We have huge deficits of PEIA. Our opiate epidemic is the highest per capita in the country. Teachers pay at the bottom. I just think right now, West Virginia demands a fresh new approach to its leadership and its direction. And I think Booth Goodwin is that. He's young, he's attractive, he's smart, he has an impeccable background of integrity and honesty. He has a great family with wonderful children and a wonderful wife. And I just think he's a true breath of fresh air that is exactly what the doctor ordered for West Virginia.
Chuck Smith is with his former Democratic Party chairman. He is among those pushing Goodwin to run and believes that he will run. So how do you know that it is likely that he will run? Are you a confidant of Goodwin's? Has he told you? Are you leading a group that wants to get him to run? How confident are you that he, in fact, is going to run?
Well, I'm very confident he's going to run. He has not told me he's going to run, but I know Booth. I know him well, and I just feel like that he's definitely going to run. Many of us, the big question would be the money, but I think from the people that I work with and been talking to, I think that we can raise a campaign war chest that can make a competitive race. So, I feel very confident he's going to run.
Okay. Chuck, you said in your quote to me, I, along with a number of other people. So are there names that we would recognize? Are there names that you feel comfortable sharing of Democratic or independent leaders of the state who are with you on this?
Well, there are quite a large number that are with me on this. The only name that I probably would be comfortable naming is Steve White, who's been working with me on this. So I'm sure we can raise the money. I'm sure he can run a great campaign, and I feel confident that he could win.
Okay, Steve White, you're talking about another Charleston a person who's been reactive historically in the Democratic Party, not Steve White of the
Yeah,
affiliate.
he's another former chair of the Democrat Party and an attorney here in town, and we've been working together and encouraging Booth to do this for quite some time.
You mentioned the money, Chuck. How do you raise the money? I mean, this primary is and he hasn't declared yet, if he's going to declare, and the declaration period starts here in a couple of weeks. How do you raise the money necessary and build the campaign necessary in literally 4 months and a couple of weeks when you have when one of the two people already in has nearly unlimited resources? Jim Justice.
Right. Well, money will be the big issue. However, a lot of the people that are supporting Booth are the type of people that really want to see something great for this state. And a lot of these people are going to come forward. They're going to contribute to Booth's campaign, and he's going to raise money rather quickly in this thing. If he can get into this race quickly, then we've already have some mechanisms in place right now to raise some substantial money.
Chuck Smith is with us, former Democratic Party Chairman, Charleston CPA, been very active in Democratic politics much of his life. You're very well connected with the Goodwins. You've been lifelong friends with the Goodwins, particularly with Booth Goodwin's father, Joseph Robert Goodwin, federal judge, who everybody knows as Joe Bob, former Democratic Party Chairman. So do the Goodwins have... do their branches reach out also to other politicos in West Virginia in fundraising and gathering support? Are they all in?
Well, the Goodwin family is very well connected throughout the state of West Virginia. They're a great family. They're well known, and they have lots of friends. And I'm sure that the Goodwin family will be very much behind Booth in this thing.
Chuck, I was been talking with some Democratic politicos in the state, and some folks are having a hard time figuring this out if, in fact, Booth Goodwin gets in the race, because you have Jeff Kessler, an established senator, the current minority leader in the Senate, and I think he's worked hard to solidify his credentials as sort of a left-center candidate, gathering labor support. You have Jim Justice, who's a non-traditional candidate, but a lot of people know his name. Our poll had him ahead of Jeff Kessler. He has a lot of money, obviously already running ads in this. So how does Booth Goodwin or anybody else enter this race, which seemed kind of already set, and make and gather enough support to win the nomination? I mean, you're a political guy. You were the party chairman. Where is that avenue?
Well, I think the avenue is in the quality of a candidate, and I think with Booth's new generation of people who are very active and very the doers of this generation, I think that his name recognition will grow quickly. He'll have a lot of energy. When new people get into politics and to leadership positions, they bring a lot of energy and a lot of new blood. And I think this is how, when people see Booth in this race and they get a chance to really compare candidates to candidates, I think they're going to really get excited about Booth being the leader of the state. This state's in too much trouble to not get someone great to be the next governor.
Chuck, finally, and I'm always very hesitant about writing pieces like this suggesting that things are going to happen because, as we all know, things in politics can change. I characterized my commentary yesterday as to say that as of today, this day, I viewed it as very likely that Booth Goodwin would get in the race for the Democratic nomination for governor. Finally, then, do you expect, and how confident are you, that within the coming weeks, Goodwin will, in fact, enter the race and leave the position as U.S. Attorney?
Well, I'm very confident that he's going to run for governor. I think there's so much pressure and so many people pushing him and so many people counting on him. I think he's going to enter the race. I'm very confident that he's going to enter the race, and I'm very confident he's going to run an outstanding campaign and have a lot of excitement about this campaign. And I'm quite confident he can compete with Jim Justice and President Kessler.
Jeff Kessler, the Senate Minority Leader. Chuck Smith, former Democratic Party Chairman, Charleston CPA, active in Democratic politics for many years in West Virginia. Chuck, it's good to speak with you. Thanks for coming on Christmas Eve. I wish you and your family a Merry Christmas. Certainly we'll talk to you early next year.
All right. Thank you, Hoppy. Merry Christmas.
Thank you very much. Okay. So that's about as close as you can get without an official declaration from Goodwin himself. Again, so this is as it stands today. Wanted to get that in there because I think it's a developing political story, which if you follow politics in West Virginia, it certainly makes your ears perk up, certainly. When we come back, though, we're going to switch gears. We're going to turn our attention to Christmas Eve. Jeff Jenkins, we'll start with him and our traditional reading of the Christmas story. That's coming up next.
'Tis the season to start saving. At MVB Bank, it's easy with our new 12-month CD. Start earning 1.15% annual percentage yield with a minimum deposit of just $1,000. To start your CD savings today, visit our jolly team at any MVB location or call us at 844-MVB-BANK. It's sure to keep you off the naughty list next year. MVB Bank. Your financial life made easy. Member FDIC.
In this season of giving, consider donating your used vehicle to Good News Mountaineer Garage. You'll get the best tax deduction possible and the satisfaction of knowing your donation changed the life of someone in need. Good News Mountaineer Garage repairs donated vehicles and provides them to qualified West Virginia families, giving them access to employment, safe, affordable housing, health care, and other vital necessities, and putting them on the road to economic independence. Call 1-866-GIVE-CAR today for Good News Mountaineer Garage. 866-GIVE-CAR.
You're listening to Talkline on Metro News. For 30 years, the voice of West Virginia.
There. Just 5 more minutes. Almost home.
Statistics show that 80% of auto fatalities occur close to home on rural roads.
Cops.
That's why law enforcement is stepping up rural patrols and cracking down on impaired driving. If you are over the limit, you are under arrest because drinking and driving don't mix. Remember, over the limit, under arrest. This message brought to you by the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
At MVB Bank, we have one simple objective: to give you the very best of everything you could possibly want and need in a bank. That's it. We believe most people just want a really great bank with top-notch products like checking with cash back, nationwide ATM fee refunds, great CD and car loan rates, and more. Together with our awesome team and the convenience of state-of-the-art technology they can count on. It's no extra fluff, just good, honest banking. We're MVB Bank, your most valuable bank. Member FDIC.
Talkline presented by MVB Bank, your most valuable bank, member FDIC. Please welcome Jeff Jenkins from Metro News. Morning, Jeffrey.
Hey, Hop. How you doing?
Fine. How long have you been with the company now?
It will be in next week. It will be 29 years.
Is that right?
Yes, sir.
29 years.
29 years next week.
Unbelievable.
We were both a lot younger then.
Well, yeah, I'll say. We both had more hair then, too.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
You were born in... Not East Bank.
I was born in Montgomery, yeah.
Oh, you were born in Montgomery?
Yeah, 5 miles up the road from where I grew up.
How many brothers and sisters?
One brother and one sister. I'm the baby. Okay. My mom had a...
Wait.
Okay, go ahead.
One brother,
yes.
One sister, a boy and a girl.
Yes.
They're another boy.
Yeah, Kevin.
Were you in an accident? You're the youngest.
Well...
Did you ever ask that question?
Maybe. But it's like this. My mom and dad had us. My mom had us 3 and 33 months.
Really?
Yeah. From start to finish, it was like 33 months.
So she was pregnant for 3 years, basically.
Yeah, and she says it about killed her. But now these days she's glad.
Got it all out of the way.
She's very glad.
Well, what could it have been like? So she had to run her house like a 4-year-old and 3-year-old and a 2-year-old.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and yeah.
It's incredible.
Pretty incredible, but it was.
Now, people who listen know that you're a devout Christian. You're a very good man. And did you ever get in trouble? I'm not talking about that. I don't want you to tell the sneaker story again. But I
was warned by your friend and my youngest son and your friend Levers.
Levers said, "Don't tell this.
Don't tell the tennis shoe story."
Yeah.
He said last night.
So, did you ever get in trouble?
Did I ever get in trouble?
Yeah, trouble like you had to go to the police station or trouble where nothing like that.
No, probably the worst. No, I didn't.
You did not misbehave. Did you ever get kicked out of school?
No.
Did you ever get in a fight?
Yes.
You did?
Yeah. I got in fights growing up. Yeah, I got in fights. I wasn't on the good end of it. I got cold cocked one time on a basketball court.
Really?
Yeah, blackened my eye.
At school or on
just playing pickup game.
Man.
Yeah,
I'm
sure I was running my mouth. I mean, that was yeah.
There's a thing that people don't know about you, is that you can be a little bit mouthy.
Really?
I mean, I don't mean that for you, because you're such a good guy. Is you can't, you'll get in there, right, with your verbal jabs, right?
We've spent a lot of time together, right?
You were mouthier as a young man, right?
Oh yeah, that was most of the root of my troubles.
Running your mouth.
Yeah, with my dad.
Smarting off.
Yes.
Smart mouth.
Yes. That was the root of the problem.
Did that end when you grew up, or end when you accepted Christ in your life?
Accepting Christ obviously was a big part of it, but I still had. I mean, I wasn't totally mature at that time either. I mean, so I basically grew. I mean, just as you grow and as you mature in your faith, those things. But I'm still not perfect.
Well, nobody. No, I understand that.
The mouth will go off sometimes too.
And you have to apologize, don't you?
Oh yeah.
All right.
Yes.
You going to read the Christmas story for us?
I am, but I'm going to, as in very Kirchhoffism here.
Yeah.
I'm going to set this up.
All right. Set it now. Listen,
okay.
I got 4 minutes.
I know what you got.
Oh,
okay.
you got the clock. 5 minutes.
Okay,
you got the clock. Go ahead.
That's
Set
right.
it up.
So I'm going to go first though to 2 Corinthians 8:9, because this is a letter the Apostle Paul wrote to the church at Corinth. And this was obviously after Christ.
Okay.
And he's writing and he's telling them about giving. And he says the greatest example of giving is Christ. And he says this in 2 Corinthians 8 verses 9, "For you know the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ, that though he was rich, yet for your sakes he became poor, that you through his poverty, might be made rich." Okay.
All right.
Alluding to obviously everything he did came from heaven to earth and became a man to die. And so then that takes us to Luke chapter 2. "And it came to pass in those days that there went out a decree from Caesar Augustus that all the world should be taxed. And this taxing was first made when Cyrenius was governor of Syria. And all went to be taxed, every one into his own city. And Joseph also went up from Galilee, out of the city of Nazareth, into Judea, unto the city of David, which is called Bethlehem, because he was of the house and lineage of David, to be taxed with Mary his espoused wife, being great with child. And so it was, that while they were there, the days were accomplished that she should be delivered. And she brought forth her firstborn son, and wrapped him in swaddling clothes, and laid him in a manger, because there was no room for them in the inn. And there were in the same country shepherds abiding in the fields, keeping watch over their flock by night. And lo, the angel of the Lord came upon them, and the glory of the Lord shone round about them, and they were sore afraid. And the angel said unto them, Fear not. For behold, I bring you good tidings of great joy, which shall be to all people. For unto you is born this day in the city of David a Savior, which is Christ the Lord. And this shall be a sign unto you. You shall find the babe wrapped in swaddling clothes, lying in a manger. And suddenly there was with the angel a multitude of the heavenly host, praising God and saying, Glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace, goodwill toward men. And it came to pass, as the angels were gone away from them into heaven. The shepherds said one to another, Let us go now, even unto Bethlehem, and see this thing which is come to pass, which our Lord has made known unto us. And they came with haste, and found Mary and Joseph and the babe lying in a manger. And when they had seen it, they made known abroad the saying which was told them concerning this child. And all they that heard it wondered at those things which were told them by the shepherds. But Mary kept all these things and pondered them in her heart. And the shepherds returned, glorifying and praising God for all the things that they had heard and seen, as it was told unto them.
That's beautiful. Well done. Well
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
You and I have talked before many times about passages in the Bible, and I remember you counseling one time that if you want to read the Bible, and you said a lot of people start at the beginning, and there's nothing wrong with that, but you always say start in the New Testament, don't you?
Well, the book of John is a good book. I mean, it tells about the life of Christ from John's perspective, obviously inspired, and I mean that's a good place to begin, because then you learn about Christ. Christ is all through the Bible, I believe, but that's a good place to start. Yes.
So, what are your Christmas plans?
We'll go up to Mom's today, so we'll have the traditional meat tray.
What is the traditional meat tray?
Well, they'll
make sandwiches.
Yeah, we'll make sandwiches. Yeah. We'll eat. I hear there's a Monopoly game going. My brother is the king. I don't even know why we're playing. I mean, I'm glad we are, but he always wins.
What properties does he go for?
I think he just goes for everything. I think that's always his strategy. And then he
just to wait everybody out, because after a while I go, I'm tired of this.
He just backs you into a corner, and then you're just done. I got to start mortgaging off stuff. And it's just
once you have to start that, you're done.
Yeah, you never can. You got to look on the back of the card to see how much it's worth. It's just like, okay.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
we're doing that tonight. Hopefully, it's just kind of take it easy night at the house. We had a church service last night, which is very nice, and. Then tomorrow we'll get up. We'll have one of our 3 grandkids at the house tomorrow, Rosie, and she'll be there.
This is your middle son's child.
Yes, Tommy's child, Tommy and Megan's child, and we'll have her there in the morning, and we'll open gifts. And then Jackie hosts the whole Jenkins clan, my wife, for Christmas dinner.
That'll be nice. And for people who don't know, you have 3 boys.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So Caleb and Lori live in Louisville, and they have Jael and Zephaniah.
Zephaniah.
Yes.
Okay,
Zephaniah.
Help me out. Who's Zephaniah from the Bible?
He's a prophet. He's Old Testament prophet.
Okay. They're going to call him Zeph?
Yes.
All right.
He's Zeph. And so they live in Louisville. And so hopefully we'll see them sometime during this holiday stretch. But they're not coming over, but Tommy and Megan. And then your friend, Stephen Levers, will be there. And my sister and brother and her husband. And we'll have a lot of people
Then,
there.
dear Jackie, your long-suffering wife, who how many times have you called her and said, honey, I'm going to be late.
We don't even call anymore. I do. Actually, I have some, but she knows. I mean, she knows. She's just wonderful.
She is.
And she
is wonderful.
She just knows.
Jeffrey, Merry Christmas.
All right,
Talk to you on the other side.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, man. Take care.
All right.
Bye-bye. All right, when we come back, see if I can get something out of Caridi that's new. Caridi's pretty. I got to get something new out of him this Christmas. I'm not going to tell the story about food at his house. I want to get something new. So let's see if I can draw that out. Tony Caridi coming up next on this special Christmas Eve edition of Talkline on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia. 10:30, let's get a news update. Check in with the Metro News Radio Network. Find out what's happening statewide this hour, all across the great state of West Virginia.
West Virginia Metro News, I'm Shauna Johnson. Cleanup is on tap for this day before Christmas in parts of the Midwest and South. Areas hit hard with storms that put down dozens of tornadoes. Heavy rain is possible in much of West Virginia starting tomorrow and continuing through Monday. National Weather Service meteorologist Jonathan Wolf says that could mean some high water come Christmas Day.
That's a concern of ours, I would say. It's hard to say right now. It really depends on where this stationary front sets up, but right now it's a possibility.
Flood watches are posted to our south this morning through North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. The doors are closed today at a decades-old strip club in Huntington. The Cabell Huntington Health Department condemned the Carousel Club, dubbed the Best of the West, earlier this week. A practice day for Marshall University's football team on the road in Florida ahead of Saturday's St. Petersburg Bowl. From the Metro News Anchor Desk, I'm Shauna Johnson.
West Virginians love the outdoors, whether it's hunting the big buck, fishing for that elusive trout, or just enjoying our wild, wonderful state. Keep up with what's happening in news of the outdoors with Chris Lawrence and Metro News. On the Outdoors page at WVMetroNews.com, you'll find podcasts of Ram Truck's West Virginia Outdoors, the Ram Trophy Room, the Trout Stocking Report, and Chris's West Virginia Outdoor Journal. For coverage of the great outdoors, depend on Chris Lawrence and Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
Hi, it's Tony Caridi, and I've got a great West Virginia story I'd like you to watch. Doddridge County's Clara Santucci is in the final stages of training in her bid to earn a spot on the United States Olympic team in the marathon. Her story embodies West Virginia's culture of hard work, dedication, and grit. In association with the Prim law firm, Pikewood Creative has produced a documentary on Clara's Olympic dream. Watch the video by going to primlaw.com. That's PRIM law.com.
I'm Chris Lawrence, and I love it when you send me pics of the game and fish you've bagged. I show them off at the Outdoors page of WVMetroNews.com in the Ram Trucks Trophy Room. But now we've stepped it up a notch. Each month from now through January, we'll have a random drawing of those who send us a picture for really cool prizes. See how to enter and submit your trophy pics at the Outdoors page of WVMetroNews.com. Make it a tasteful photo, and if it's a trophy to you, it's a trophy to us. The Ram Trophy Room at the Outdoors page of WVMetroNews.com.
When you drive impaired in West Virginia, you break the law and endanger the lives of others. Law enforcement across the state is committed to keeping impaired drivers off the road. If you drive impaired, be prepared to pay the price. There are consequences. It's simple, West Virginia. Drive sober or get pulled over.
This message is brought to you by the Governor's Highway Safety Program, the West Virginia Division of Motor Vehicles, and the West Virginia Department of Transportation.
Special Christmas edition of Metro News Talkline here on this Christmas Eve live show. Please welcome Tony Caridi. Hello, Tony.
Good morning to you, Hop. How are you?
Fine. We always talk on Christmas Eve about your folks. You tell the story about your dad who came to this country from Italy, could not speak any English, certainly made a life for himself and his family. I got to thinking, your dad, what year was he born?
Oh, my goodness.
How old is he now?
I don't even know. He's 91 years old, so we'd have to do the math.
All right, 91. All right, he was... I should be able to do that off the top of my head.
Depression era.
Yeah. So how did he avoid, and I know that he was there during World War II in fascist Italy. How did he avoid ending up as a teen in the Army? Do you know?
That's a great story, Hoppy. He was one of 10 kids, and his oldest brother was in the war. And
did he survive?
He did. Got shot.
1925 was when he was born. Okay.
He was shot in the war. The bullet literally went through his body, in and out near his stomach, and he was able to survive. He told my brother, or he told my dad. He told him. He said, "Listen." He says, "This is what I need you to do," because the family had no money. He said, if you come into the service, you will not make it home. Because all of their friends that they had grown up with, literally none of them were coming home. He said, go. And he said, leave. And he went to Florence, and he spent 6 years in Florence and sending back money home in the fruit business. And that's how he survived. And he wrote him a letter, and he said, you do not return home until you receive a letter from me in my handwriting. That's the only time you will come back home. And that's what happened. And he literally saw the war firsthand. He was in a 10-foot ditch for days during American bombing. And they never thought they would come out. The ground was shaking, dirt and dust, and they thought they were just going to suffocate inside of it. So he's got amazing stories. And what's interesting is the Americans came on the land there. This is in the very tip of Italy, across the bay from Sicily. And when the Americans came on the land, he just remembers them
at Anzio. That was the big invasion at Anzio, but
yeah, it was in the province of Calabria. So they came over. Probably they came in from Messina in Sicily and came in. And he always remembers how well the Americans treated them when they got on the land. And it's kind of amazing when you think about it that his country just got crushed by the bombing and things like that. And when he came here to live, he became such an American. Became a U.S. citizen, and as I probably told you before, probably knows a lot more about American history and the presidency and all of that than a lot of us do.
How did y'all end up in Lockport, outside of Buffalo?
He had an older sister who had moved there. And so he literally came to visit during the off season in the fruit business, which was like September, October.
Where was he before Where was he before that?
He was in Italy.
Oh, he was? Okay, I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah, he literally just came over to visit, and then when he saw it, he went, you know what? This is good. And he liked it, and at that point he was the salesman for their fruit company. There was this big fruit company he and his brothers had, and he was the lead guy that would sell in all the markets across Italy and into some of these other countries, but he lived on the road. And so he said, I'm like 32 years old. He goes, I don't want this to be my life just, wandering around here. Came over to visit, met my mom, and said...
Where did he meet your mom?
He met my mom in Canandaigua, New York, which is one of the Finger Lakes. My aunt had known some Italian folks that were in Canandaigua, and they went for the lake is beautiful. Canandaigua Lake's beautiful, so they just went for look at the lake, and they met him. And my dad said, and he started talking. He said, "Can I write you?" And then before long, man, those days are different.
Yeah.
It happened really quick.
Like how quick?
Hoppy, I would think in a matter of months.
Yeah.
And so they got married. In 1957, he went back to Italy for 6 months to close up all of his business, came back here and bought a grocery store and had never been in the grocery business a day in his life and didn't speak a word of English.
But he figured it out. Tony Caridi is with us. What's your memory of your earliest Christmas? What's the first Christmas you remember?
I remember Santa coming to visit the house.
Really? Hey, that's cool.
Yeah, big bells, and he came in, and it was Christmas Eve, and it was kind of like, wow, kind of like awestruck. There he is. But Christmas Eve was always huge. All the family came to our house, just amazing amounts of food, and it was just good.
What did you get as a present? Every kid wants presents. What did you get that you really, really wanted and you got one year as a child?
A CB radio when I was a little bit older.
Really?
Yeah, I remember I went goofy. I was just like screaming. I was so excited that I got a CB radio.
Did you have a car? No.
A car?
I mean, you had a CB radio.
You know what? I remember one thing. I got a racetrack. You remember the racetrack?
Sure. Oh, yeah.
So I remember I got a racetrack, and it was really nice. And I remember that after we had gone to bed, we had opened it up on Christmas Eve. We did our presents, believe it or not, on Christmas Eve. And I went to bed, and then really in the middle of the night, I heard the whee, someone running the cars. So I get up, and here's my dad. And he's running the cars around the track. Now, if you know my dad, that would be the absolute last thing of him dealing with a toy of anything, because it was just work and business. And it was there's my dad, man. He's playing with my car.
That's classic.
I remember that.
That's funny. Now, you and Joan have 3 boys, and where are they? Who are they, and what are they doing now?
3 boys, about to gain a daughter-in-law. Michael's getting married.
That's your oldest, is getting married.
That's our oldest. Michael's getting married here next month, and doing well. And the twins are juniors at WVU. One is going to do his finance degree and finish up here this year in 3 years. And then Andrew is, for some reason, Hoppy, Andrew is leaning toward this broadcast business.
He's in the station today.
Was he there today?
Yeah, he's there. I just passed him in the hallway. Yeah.
Put him to work.
Oh, yeah. Work Christmas Eve, man. That's what you got to do.
Welcome to the world.
Yeah.
So he's messing around in the broadcast side, doing hockey for WVU, hockey play-by-play, loves hockey, and stuff like that. So that's kind of what they're doing.
Yeah, Andrew's. I think he's going to be good. I know you don't cut him a lot of slack. I think he's going to be pretty good. I don't want him to be listening and hear that, but
yeah, he's got a chance.
He's got a chance. That's all he asked for.
That's all he can ask for. He's got a chance.
All right. Hey, Tony, Merry Christmas to you and your family.
I appreciate it.
Okay, pal.
See you. Bye-bye.
Talk to you soon. All right. A little new info out there. He's got his dad. There's amazing stories about his dad. that, and I think that for those who are about our age or older, and you talk to your parents about that generation, particularly those who immigrated and lived through World War II, or in this country and their parents or grandparents were in World War II, or Vietnam or Korea, and now fighting in the Middle East. Okay, we'll take a break and come back. Can we learn more about Chris Steyerwalt when we return?
It is the season of light, the time of faith, of family, and love. From the incredible display in Chief Logan State Park to the renowned Festival of Lights in Wheeling, the spirit of the holiday season is being illuminated for all to enjoy. From east to west and in communities all across West Virginia, the lights of the season fill the spirit with joy and wonder. As you enjoy this very special season and the love of your family and friends, we ask that you remember the hard-working men and women who work in our nation's coal mines, keeping the lights burning. And we also ask that you also remember our nation's armed forces. Together, they provide the energy and freedom we enjoy. Their efforts keep us safe and keep us warm. This season, as you enjoy these enchanting displays in the company of loved ones, please know that the coal industry is truly proud to always keep the lights on. We wish you a safe, thankful, and blessed holiday. Merry Christmas from the Friends of Coal.
Changing lives by preventing harm and providing hope and healing to hurting children and families. Burlington United Methodist Family Services has led the way in West Virginia for over 100 years, preventing harm by helping place endangered children in safe, caring foster homes, providing hope by counseling birth parents in their choice to parent or make an adoption plan, and helping adoptive parents in their quest for a child. Go to bumfs.org to see how Burlington United Methodist Family Services is truly changing lives.
Hi, it's Tony Caridi, and I've got a great West Virginia story I'd like you to watch. Doddridge County's Clara Santucci is in the final stages of training in her bid to earn a spot on the United States Olympic team in the marathon. Her story embodies West Virginia's culture of hard work, dedication, and grit. In association with the Prim law firm, Pikewood Creative has produced a documentary on Clara's Olympic dream. Watch the video by going to primlaw.com. That's PRIM law.com.
This is Talkline on Metro News. For 30 years, the voice of West Virginia.
There. Just 5 more minutes. Almost home.
Statistics show that 80% of auto fatalities occur close to home on rural roads.
Cops.
That's why law enforcement is stepping up rural patrols and cracking down on impaired driving. If you are over the limit, you are under arrest because drinking and driving don't mix. Remember, over the limit, under arrest. This message brought to you by the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
At MVB Bank, we have one simple objective: to give you the very best of everything you could possibly want and need in a bank. That's it. We believe most people just want a really great bank with top-notch products like checking with cash back, nationwide ATM fee refunds, great CD and car loan rates, and more. Together with our awesome team and the convenience of state-of-the-art technology they can count on. It's no extra fluff, just good, honest banking. We're MVB Bank, your most valuable bank. Member FDIC.
The Lodge at North Bend State Park is hosting a Christmas Day buffet this year. Enjoy traditional entrees like turkey and stuffing, as well as new favorites such as pecan-crusted fish and a prime rib carving station. After your meal, explore the 72-mile North Bend Rail Trail by bike or foot. For Christmas Day adventures here in the great state, call 800-225-5982 and speak to an adventure advisor. 800-225-5982. Lots going on in West Virginia on Christmas Day. So on this special Christmas Eve edition of Talkline, we're just talking with some of the folks you hear a lot on this show, and I'm using my interviewing skills to try to learn more about them. Chris Steyerwalt, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you, brother.
Where were you born?
I was born in Pontiac, Michigan.
Mm-hmm. And why were you there? Why were your parents there?
We we're all part of the great hillbilly diaspora. But my dad was a coal salesman.
Okay.
And he was a coal salesman for the Consolidation Coal Company. And his territory was based in Detroit. He had customers like Ford and others. So as a consequence of his line of work, we moved all around Appalachia and the Midwest,
oh, really?
where people make and sell coal. So most of my young life, I spent in Wheeling, West Virginia. But I spent the first 2 years in Detroit, and I spent about 4 years in the middle growing up, 4 or 5 years in the middle growing up in St. Louis, which was great because I got to really like baseball. So that was, among other good things that happened there, that is how I became a St. Louis Cardinals fan.
So
that is why go ahead.
Were your parents, were they originally, or did you have ancestors originally from West Virginia?
Yeah. The Steyerwalts, interestingly, only to me and no one else, the Steyerwalts came as in the 18th century, two German brothers, Jacob and Johann, came to the United States as the Steigerwalds. Sure. And they went down to Rowan County, North Carolina, Salisbury, as quickly as a wagon would take them. And they, by the time they got there, had already changed their name to Steyerwalt, so that they could find them some good hillbilly women. And they did. And then the Steyerwalts spread out from there, back up the Shenandoah into West Virginia, and then eventually out into through the Cumberland Gap and into where my grandfather was born, which was in Timothy, Illinois, which doesn't exist anymore, and had one store. And he was born. I will tell you how poor my grandfather was. My grandfather, and this is like a real Beckley poor mouth in here. My grandfather was so poor that when he was 16 years old, he went to Iowa on the train to cut broom corn. That was the first time he'd been anywhere. Well, he got for the summer to go up and do that. And when he came back, he had enough money to buy one thing. What was the first thing he ever bought? It was a chair, because until he was 16, you know where he sat?
On the floor, I guess.
On the floor.
Or on a feed sack or something.
Or on a feed sack or something. But he sat on the floor.
He bought a chair.
He bought a chair. And do you know where that chair is now?
I hope it's in your house.
By God, it is right there. And I like to look at it because whenever I think that anything's hard or life is tough or why don't I have everything that I want all the time? I remember that in America, it is a remarkable place that just 2 generations ago, I, who live in relative opulence to that, am the grandson of a man who was so poor he had to sit on the floor till he was almost old enough to go into the Army.
Well, if your grandfather would walk in your house today, and I would call you, he would think that he was at the Rockefellers.
No, he would think that he was in a somewhat chaotic environment.
Oh well, that's another story. So you've been.
Well, you know what he did, but this is important, my friend. This is important. The story is that my grandfather, and I think this is true of a lot of people who were born at the turn of the century, grew up with the country. He was born on a farm with no electricity, where they had to trade for their staple goods. And he died he died by the global standard, a prosperous man. He had become a utility executive, and he was a prosperous man because the opportunities that opened up for him. And my favorite story about my grandfather.
What was his name? What was his first name?
Newman.
Okay.
and Newman Claude. And Newman Claude Steyerwalt got back from World War I, and his mother was a learned woman for being out in the country, for being in literally nowhere. She was a very learned woman, and she loved the Lord. She loved the Bible. I'll get choked up talking about this. So when he got back from the war, he knew that he could not stay in Timothy, Illinois. He had too much rumble and ramble in him.
Sure.
And so he applied. The Grange was having an essay contest. And do you know what the topic of the essay was?
No.
Why boys should stay on the farm. And the prize was a scholarship.
Mm-hmm.
And Newman Steyerwalt wrote the essay that won the scholarship.
Oh, man.
And the problem was there was no way that he was so poor. The family literally did not have enough money for a train ticket. So he was afraid he couldn't take the scholarship. But my great-grandmother, Nellie Reed Steyerwalt, had secreted away from her mean old husband, who was a mean old man. She had secreted away from him $100.
Sure, it was in the coffee can. It was hidden in the coffee can, of course. Right?
No, where would you hide it? Where would you hide $100 in a one-room house with a lean-to? Where would you hide it from a mean old man?
I guess, I don't know, in your bustle? I don't know where you...
The one place he would never look, in the Bible.
Oh.
And she hid that $100 there in the Bible where he would never find it. And she pressed it into my grandfather's hand so he could go.
Oh, that's great. That's a great story.
Isn't that amazing?
It is. America.
Yeah.
Now, you are married, of course. Your wife, Mary. You have two young boys. How old are your boys?
My sons are 7 and 5.
Newman and...
You guys want to... Arthur, Newman and Arthur. You guys want to say hi? Hi. Say hi, Arthur. Hi.
Now, did they see Dad on TV on Fox? And or is that just like that's not a big deal anymore, right?
That's not a big deal anymore. But it's good. We're getting up into the part of the year where I'm going to be gone a lot, and I'll be on the road a great deal. And that part is nice because then, they can see what I'm doing. And I think for you, for me, there are a lucky few of us whose kids, when they're growing up, can see what we do for a living, right?
Mm-hmm.
How many parents say, well, I go over here and I do this thing. Well, what do you do? I don't know. I've never seen him or her do it. I know it's in that building, but whatever, right? For you and for me and for others who have jobs that kids can see and watch them do, understand, that's something special, I think.
60 seconds. What did you get for Christmas one year that you thought that it just got delivered? Like, oh, man, that is exactly what I wanted.
Well, the greatest childhood
45
Christmas of all
seconds.
time, the G.I. Joe aircraft carrier was the greatest thing that ever existed. I would have traded my salvation and the love of my mother and everything else in the world for that sucker laid out 6 feet long under the Christmas tree. I about passed out.
And there it was.
And there it was, brother.
That's awesome. Chris Steyerwalt, Fox News Digital Politics editor, frequent contributor here to Metro News Talkline, and a friend of mine. Merry Christmas, my friend.
Merry Christmas, brother. Thanks for all the good you do.
Take care. Chris Steyerwalt. All he wanted was that G.I. Joe aircraft carrier. Who can blame him? We'll be right back.
Look around your holiday table this year and think, how many faces are missing because they've had to leave home to find good jobs in more technology-driven, economically diverse states? The High Technology Foundation is working to keep young, educated West Virginians here at home by attracting high-tech companies to our state. The High Technology Foundation is helping build stronger West Virginia families by building a stronger West Virginia, because there's no place like home and family for the holidays. Learn more at wvhtf.org.
True to its motto, wild and wonderful, West Virginia is the third most forested state in the country for landmass and has 7 million more forested acres now than 100 years ago. The mountain state is abundantly blessed with valuable renewable forest resources, which naturally regenerate for future generations. Forestry is the basis for over 5,000 separate wood and paper products, creating millions of dollars in state revenue from business income and property taxes. A message from the West Virginia Forestry Association, WVFA.org.
It's here, the year-end blockbuster sales event at your Central West Virginia Jeep Giant. Northside Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram trucks in Somersville. Inventory is huge, and so are the savings. Come on in now for this deal. A 2016 Jeep Cherokee Latitude 4x4 cold weather group. Yep, you're going to need it. Satellite radio. Retail price $29,230. Blockbuster price $24,999. You save over $4,200. It's only the beginning. See us in person or online at northsidewv.com.
You're listening to Talkline on Metro News. For 30 years, the voice of West Virginia.
There. Just 5 more minutes. Almost home.
Statistics show that 80% of auto fatalities occur close to home on rural roads.
Cops.
That's why law enforcement is stepping up rural patrols and cracking down on impaired driving. If you are over the limit, you are under arrest because drinking and driving don't mix. Remember, over the limit, under arrest. This message brought to you by the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
At MVB Bank, we have one simple objective: to give you the very best of everything you could possibly want and need in a bank. That's it. We believe most people just want a really great bank with top-notch products like checking with cash back, nationwide ATM fee refunds, great CD and car loan rates, and more. Together with our awesome team and the convenience of state-of-the-art technology they can count on. It's no extra fluff, just good, honest banking. We're MVB Bank, your most valuable bank. Member FDIC.
Welcome back to Talkline on Metro News on this Christmas Eve. Hoppy Kercheval with you. Here in West Virginia, there are 2 great jackpot games you can play from the West Virginia Lottery. Powerball has drawings on Wednesdays and Saturdays. Mega Millions has drawings on Tuesdays and Fridays. The Powerball jackpot is $255 million. The Mega Millions jackpot is $104 million. Please play responsibly. I love the story by Steyerwald about the chair. That's a great, great story. And I love the fact that the chair is now in his house. Coming up next hour, we'll try to find out some more about some of the people who you hear on Talkline regularly. And Howard Monroe, I know very well, but there got to be some secrets we can get out of Howard Monroe, Brad Howe, Fred Persinger, and also the long-awaited interview. We'll see if we can get something out of him with my older brother, Nick Kercheval. That's coming up next when Talkline continues. We'll see you in 6 minutes. Talkline on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia. Welcome back. Hour number 2 of Talkline on the Metro News Radio Network in and around the great state of West Virginia. I'm Hoppy Kercheval. Joe Nelson, our producer, Commander Cody, handling the video stream. You can watch us at wvmetronews.com. Couple developing stories on this Christmas Eve, both posted at wvmetronews.com. Severe storm in Parkersburg overnight. Several residents of Wood County spend much of their Christmas Eve, are spending their Christmas Eve cleaning up. Many more spent the first part of their Christmas in the dark. A strong storm moved through the area south of Parkersburg, just outside of the city limits. 6 or 7 mobile homes were damaged. There are pictures posted at wvmetronews.com. It was about a 4 or 5 block area just outside the city limits. No injuries reported, thankfully. Also, there has been a train derailment at New Martinsville. Jeff Jenkins reporting the CSX tanker cars, 10 CSX tanker cars derailed a company rail yard on the north side of New Martinsville early this morning. The tankers carrying propane did not rupture. 4 of the cars did end up on their sides. No injuries reported. Story posted at wvmetronews.com. Continuing our special Christmas Eve live show here, just talking with people that you hear frequently on Talkline, trying to learn a little bit more about them, and also some people you don't hear from frequently. You know me because my life has been out there on display for years, but you may know that I have a brother, an older brother. His name is Nick John Nicholas Kercheval, 4 years older, so he's 64. He joins us on Metro News Talkline. Nick, good morning. How are you?
Hey, good morning, little brother.
Okay, so you're in the farming business et al. Tell folks exactly what you do.
Well, I'm a grain farmer, corn, soybeans, and wheat, and farm about 600 acres here in Jefferson County, about as far east as you can get in West Virginia.
Mm-hmm. Now, what else do you do? You got a trucking business, right?
Yeah, we got a couple of tractor trailers, and we haul, agriculturally related material. I like to say organic fertilizer is one of our products that we haul.
Now, just tell folks what you haul in those trucks. Just say what it is.
Well, it's chicken poop. That's what it is.
but there's money in business in chicken waste, right? You got all these chickens and they poop, and you got to do something with it, right? And it's good organic fertilizer, correct?
Hop, our dad always said, there's always money in waste products. There's always money in things that people need to throw away or get rid of. And I got into this a few years ago, and when commercial fertilizer prices skyrocketed, and the chicken manure is high in nitrogen, phosphorus, and potash. And made some contacts, and I was already in the trucking business, and it was at a time when we'd been hauling, construction material, and of course the bottom just dropped out of that. So I just kind of shifted gears a little bit more back to my roots with the trucks, with the agricultural products, and it's worked out well.
Speaking of your roots, we grew up on the farm, of course, and we left when you were probably. You're probably like 17 or 18 when we left the farm, so you had a lot of farming experience. But we weren't that fond of the farm. Maybe you had fonder memories than I do of the farm. But you ended up back in the agriculture business, so I'm sure you've thought about that a lot. Why do you think that happened?
It pulled me back in. I definitely wanted to leave the farm because we milk cows, and that was so restrictive on our lifestyle. Dad went 7 years in a stretch. 365 days a year, twice a day without missing the milking, and that's through my teen years. I just saw that. It's just something I didn't want to do, and I knew I wanted to go to college, and my thoughts at that point were get off the farm, go to college, get a job, maybe somewhere in agriculture, maybe with like John Deere or somebody like that. But then I just felt myself pulled back in, and
pulled by what? What was it?
What happened?
What do you think it was that drew you back in?
Being my own boss, and my next to last year in college here at Shepherd, and right here in Jefferson County, and Dad, along with a couple other fellows, had some land that they had rented, and the corn prices were way high, were sky high. We were trading with China, and exports were really good, and so I actually helped them, plant the corn, a couple hundred acres of corn, and I realized that. It was just pulling me. I just felt a pull, and it was an opportune time to get in business, for myself. I didn't have anything to lose, everything to gain. Diploma in one hand, and that's about it.
Yeah. Nick Kercheval's with us, my older brother. Now, I would during your teen years and early 20s, and perhaps after that as well. But you were the first guy, one of the first guys I knew that you had a tattoo before everybody had ink. You had long hair when a lot of people were having long hair. It was in the 60s. You had an earring before everybody had an earring. You had a motorcycle before everybody had a motorcycle. So what about that? What was that about?
I thought about that. I guess it was just rebellion of sorts, just pushing against, what everybody else was doing to try to stand out, maybe. I don't know. And it maybe had to do with, our lifestyle growing up, which I was very, actually as a younger child, until my teen years, I was pretty happy, because you probably mentioned on the air, we went to Summit Point School, 4 rooms, 6 grades. And at that point in time, my 3 best friends were Robert Goodell, Bobby Liskey, and Paul Daly. And, they all came from dairy farms.
Right.
We were all in the same boat. And then, left there and went to Charlestown to school. It was a whole different world, and all the kids there, after school, they went to the park and played tennis or basketball or hung out or did whatever, and I had to go home and work. So I think it just opened my eyes up, and then from that point forward, I think I just kind of rebelled.
Yeah,
I think that's
but for a lot of people, that rebellion maybe lasts your early 20s and then it subsides. But you've always been kind of marched to your own drum, somewhat rebellious. You've cooled off a lot, I think, in the last decade. But kind of a hellraiser for a long time. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, I've certainly been viewed as that. Yeah, I've had my moments. Yeah, quite a few. I just always worked hard and played hard.
Mm-hmm.
And, I still work hard. I can't play hard like I used to, and that's just fine.
Or you choose not to play as hard as you once did, certainly.
Well, I choose to as well. And there's not much out there that, I can't think of anything I feel like I've missed, in life doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I've gotten older, hopefully a little wiser, a little smarter. Different time of my life.
Nick Kercheval's with us, my older brother. Tell us about your kids.
Oh, yeah, I got great kids, and I'm so proud of my children, and this comes up quite often. And I have breakfast almost every Sunday with a group of farmers, and, one of the things that we talk about is work ethic or lack of that we see, in a lot of kids growing up. And of course that a lot of kids don't want to farm anymore. And but anyhow, the point of this is my children, and I have 3. I have 2 daughters and a son, and they all have a work ethic. They're all smart. I think they all, they're all personable. I'm just so proud of them. And I think they're all well on their way to being successful in life.
And you have your first grandson.
And my first grandson, he will be 2 in February. My daughter Lindsay, my older daughter Lindsay, and her husband Mike, and he's just a joy. It's wonderful, and I know that your listeners out there that are grandparents, I finally found out what they say about. Well, it's great to be a grandparent because you get the upside of it, not so much the downside.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just wonderful.
Yeah. Nick Kercheval's with us, my older brother. And so you talk about work ethic, and you certainly have a tremendous work ethic. And do you think that came from the farm?
Well, absolutely, Hop. I mean, we both have that. I've watched, I know how you work, and I know your hours. And, for me, and quite honestly, I like the work. I enjoy it. I get tired. I get worn down, both mentally and physically, and as I get older, it physically quicker than it used to be. But I enjoy it, and I feel that that's the American way. I believe in honesty, integrity, work hard, treat other people the way you want to be treated, and life seems to go pretty well if you live by those tenets.
What was the earliest present you remember getting from mom and dad that you really thought fulfilled your desire, like, oh, I wanted that and I got it? Do you remember?
Probably a bicycle, I'm thinking. But then again, it may have been a toy tractor, like it was a little Farmall.
Yeah. That you could pedal tractor? Yeah, there's a picture of that.
Yeah, it may have been that. That was earlier than the bicycle. So I vividly remember, Christmas morning and seeing the bicycle under the tree. I don't really have that vivid memory of the tractor, but I do remember getting a lot of joy from it. So it's probably a toss-up,
Before I let you go, will you tell the Christmas red shed story?
Oh, yeah, you have to bring that one up.
Well, let me set this up. There used to be a very, very popular bar outside of Shepherdstown called the Red Shed. I mean, this place was hopping. This was it was a nightclub. It served only beer, had bands. This place was hopping. So I got about a minute and a half. Tell the Red Shed story.
All right, this was.
And you worked there off and on for a long time.
I worked there for a couple of years while I was going to Shepherd, and this was right at the edge of Shepherdstown. It was a pretty wild, crazy place. And at this point, I was not working there, but I'd gone over to Mother and Dad's house for Christmas Eve, and we were just kind of hanging out, and I was getting a little bit bored, and I told Dad, I said, well, I think I'm going to go over to Shepherdstown. I'm going to go over to the Red Shed and see what's happening. I go in there, and Bob Forthover, who was the owner, and I walked in, he goes, I'm shorthanded, and I need somebody to work, and help out. And I said, oh, yeah, okay, I will. So I did. Next thing I know, it was a rough crowd in there, and a fight broke out, and and just instinctively, because that's part of my job when I worked there, I jumped in the middle of it, and I realized, what the heck am I doing? This is Christmas Eve. The heck with this. And we wore little aprons to show that we worked there at the time, and I just took the apron off, threw it down, said, I'm out of here. I'm going home. I just walked out. Christmas Eve. I'm not doing this.
I'm not taking a beating on Christmas Eve for the Red Shed.
Exactly.
All right, Nick, we're going to, all things work out. We'll see you Saturday afternoon. Looking forward to it. Take good care. Love you, brother.
Sounds good. Hold on one second.
Oh, okay.
Here, so I know you might be running over, but I just like to tell all your listeners that, my brother, I'm so proud of him, and I know that there are plenty of fans out there, and also, some detractors as well, and that goes with the job that you do and the show that you do. But everyone out there, whether you're a fan or whether you're a detractor, I want everybody to know my brother does have a tremendous work ethic, and he has phenomenal integrity, and he's highly principled. So I just want to say that about you, brother.
Well,
I know you as a man.
Appreciate it. You got my back. All right, I'll see you. See you Saturday.
All right, love you, brother.
Love you. All right, we'll be right back. When we come back, Howard Monroe's next.
We're in the spirit of giving at MVB Bank this year, and our gift to you includes awesome CD products at great rates, like our 58-month 2.12 annual percentage yield CD. You can start saving today with a minimum deposit of just $1,000. Hurry in now and avoid the holiday rush. This is a present that keeps on earning year after year. MVB Bank, your financial life made easy. Member FDIC. Visit us at mvbbanking.com.
As a cyclist, we make choices. We choose which motorcycle manufacturer to buy from. We choose what type of motorcycle we ride. We even choose where and when to ride. We also choose to ride straight, alcohol and drug-free. Alcohol is involved in 50% of motorcycle fatalities in West Virginia. That's 1 in 2 drivers who die each year. Don't become a statistic. Ride straight, alcohol and drug-free. Presented by the West Virginia Department of Transportation, Governor's Highway Safety and Motorcycle Safety and Awareness Program.
A charity that's close to hearts and close to home. Burlington United Methodist Family Services has been changing lives by preventing harm and providing hope and healing to hurting West Virginia children and families for over 100 years. When you make a charitable contribution to Burlington, you're not only reducing your own tax burden, but helping provide crucial services across our state. Learn more about Burlington and see how you can help today at bumfs.org. Burlington United Methodist Family Services.
This is Talkline on Metro News. For 30 years, the voice of West Virginia.
There. Just 5 more minutes. Almost home.
Statistics show that 80% of auto fatalities occur close to home on rural roads.
Cops.
That's That's why law enforcement is stepping up rural patrols and cracking down on impaired driving. If you are over the limit, you are under arrest because drinking and driving don't mix. Remember, over the limit, under arrest. This message brought to you by the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
At MVB Bank, we have one simple objective: to give you the very best of everything you could possibly want and need in a bank. That's it. We believe most people just want a really great bank with top-notch products like checking with cash back, nationwide ATM fee refunds, great CD and car loan rates, and more. Together with our awesome team and the convenience of state-of-the-art technology they can count on. It's no extra fluff, just good, honest banking. We're MVB Bank, your most valuable bank. Member FDIC.
Talkline on Metro News. Talkline presented by MVB Bank, your most valuable bank, member FDIC. Some people love Christmas. Some people really love Christmas. Howard's one of those guys. Howard Monroe, you really love Christmas. You get into it. You love shopping at the last minute, reading the Christmas story to your kids. I dig that about you, man.
I do all of those things. I just got back from last-minute grocery shopping about 15 minutes ago. I love the whole thing. You know, this is the time of year. Every year you ask me something like, what's your worst Christmas or something. I can never remember the bad ones. It's always just been fun.
Good for you.
Life is good at Christmas time. And by the way, before I forget, Merry Christmas to you.
Thank you.
And to all the Talkline listeners.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate all you contributions throughout the year. Where were you born?
Here in Wheeling.
Oh, you were? Okay.
Wheeling boy, born and bred.
What did your parents do?
My mom was a school teacher her entire life. Took some time off when the kids were born, as most women teachers did in that era. Taught, took some time off, went back to school after we were able to sort of fend for ourselves. My dad was a delivery man and a salesman for Dandy potato chips most of his life. And so I still run into people, you know, who are in that business who say, I remember your dad. My dad was, a quite well-known guy around town, traveling to all of the places. So both of them had pretty much the same career most of their lives.
Did you ever travel with your dad or make the rounds with your dad?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. In the early days, and my oldest son, Jason, Granddad would often pick him up from nursery school, and of course, I think the statute of limitations is long gone. You know, it was just a big old panel truck that, you know, you see delivery men driving around in. And Jason would just be sort of sitting on the steps, you know, no seatbelts, no anything. And,
right.
There's a classic story. As my dad was getting a little bit older, getting near retirement, he was having a little bit of trouble seeing. And he would say to my son, who was just, again, I'm talking about, you know, elementary school at best, now, Jason, you tell Granddaddy what color that light is turning.
You know, my dad, who's passed away, and he had macular degeneration, and I'd come home and say, Dad, how's your eyesight? And he'd say, you know, it's amazing. I can't see to read hardly anymore, and I can't see TV because I can see well to drive. And I thought, yeah, right, exactly.
Exactly.
So are you both your parents deceased, or are they still with us?
My dad passed away about, 25 years ago or so, had cancer, and my mom died this past year, as you may remember.
Oh, that's right, that's right.
So... which will make this one of the, I mean, we have a lot of exciting things going on here in our house at Christmas time, but this will be the first year without Mom, and that's going to be a little bit difficult.
So why didn't you follow your dad into the potato chip distribution business?
You know, I don't know. My game plan in life had been, when I was in school, I was a bit of a nerd or a geek or a wimp or whatever they called us back then, and was a good student, and my game plan had been actually to become a lawyer. That's what I was sort of aiming to do. And then back in 1968, for some reason, unbeknownst to me, a good friend of mine and I decided we ought to have a radio show. And this was long before there were talk shows, but we thought we should have a talk show. We called every radio station in town, and they, well, laughed at us, except one. And remember, this was in the late 60s, and they were looking for some kind of public affairs show to create
Teen
to fill
Beat.
some requirements.
Teen Beat.
Teen Line. It was Teen Line. Teen Line. Teens talking on teen topics.
Okay.
and so we did that show on Saturday mornings for a number of years.
Really?
Went to WVU, and that Saturday morning gig turned into a disc jockey on the weekends job. So I came home frequently from WVU to work weekends at the radio station, and actually I was still planning to go to law school when, I always have to be careful how I phrase this, the fellow who was doing a talk show at the time, fortunately for me, but not for him, died.
Okay.
And they said, you're a smart kid and you work cheap. You want to do the show? I said, well, what the heck? I'll do it for a year and then go back to school, and the rest, as they say, is history. So that's how I kind of got my.
Do you still have any tapes of the teen show, the Teen Tiger Beat show? Do you really?
I do. Now they're tapes. I mean, we're talking.
Oh yeah, we got to find a tape recording. We got to find a Wallen sack somewhere to play it. But I'd love to hear that.
Exactly, and I had some interesting interviews back in the Teen Line days. We interviewed some of the local celebrities around here. People in the Wheeling area. Remember Don Daniels, who was a great newspaper columnist up here. I think he could have been a national column, a Mike Royko kind of guy.
Yeah.
Never did any interviews, but for some reason he thought we were two stupid kids, and he let us interview him. I bring those tapes out and play them sometimes. We did a lot of UFO. I guess we were Art Bell before Art Bell.
You did UFO stuff?
Did a lot of UFO stuff in the early years. So yeah, I have quite a good bit, good many of those tapes somewhere in a box in the basement. Which someday I'll, when I'm truly retired, I'll have to get out and catalog or something.
Yeah, do something with it, exactly. So what was the earliest gift? And I know we talked about you getting the tape recorder, like everybody in radio at one point got a tape recorder back in the day.
Right.
So what was one year that something you really, really wanted, or an early memory that you actually got?
Well, again, I hate to say this because these are also radio centric.
Yep.
One year I got a microphone set. Now I'm not talking about microphones that really work, but this was sort of little plastic microphones, the kind that Bing Crosby and Frank Sinatra would have on stage and stand and sing at, And my Aunt Hannah had a really, actually it was a great aunt, but Aunt Hannah had a really huge house here in town, and they had kind of almost like a balcony or an arching area between the kitchen and the living room. I stood up there and sang songs into these plastic microphones.
Now there's some holiday entertainment. I got
that was it. Yeah, they all applauded. I think it was just to drown out the singing. But,
exactly. 30 seconds, Howard. You have two sons. Where are they?
I have three sons.
Three sons. I'm sorry.
My oldest son is here in Wheeling. He's a manager at a local restaurant. My youngest son is in Morgantown, where he's a health inspector. And my oldest is in Frederick, Maryland, where he is a high-tech guy, and he has given us our first grandson this year, which makes this, he's not going to be with us. We're going to FaceTime with him, and it makes this an exciting holiday season for us.
Howard, Merry Christmas to you and your family. Always good talking to you. Great having you on the show. Talk to you next week, probably.
All right. Sounds good, Hop. Thanks again. Merry Christmas.
Thank you very much. Howard Monroe. Dad almost went into the potato chip distribution business. We'll be back. Oh, no, well, more. He wanted to be a lawyer, and I think he probably would have been a good lawyer, knowing Howard's argumentative side. This is Talkline on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia. 11:30, let's get a news update. Check in with the Metro News Radio Network and find out what's happening statewide this hour all across the great state of West Virginia.
West Virginia Metro News, I'm Shauna Johnson. Seneca Coal Resources, an affiliate of ERP Compliant Fuels, is the new owner of the Pinnacle Mine in Wyoming County and the Oak Grove Mine in Alabama, former Cliffs Natural Resources properties. Cliffs is now out of the coal business. Earlier this year, Seneca bought mine properties from bankrupt Patriot Coal. Guilty pleas to 7 criminal counts could add up to a 20-year-long prison sentence for a Martinsburg doctor. 45-year-old Tressie Duffy was illegally distributing painkillers out of her office, West Virginia Weight and Wellness. She entered those guilty pleas on Wednesday. The forecast is calling for heavy rain for tomorrow's Christmas Day and through the weekend here in West Virginia. Charleston resident David Hagerman says the ongoing warm temperatures are weird.
70's a bit warm, but we all would like to have a white Christmas, right?
Today, temperatures could break some records in parts of West Virginia. From the Metro News Anchor Desk, I'm Shauna Johnson.
Business owners know it's hard to find quality employees. If your business is growing and you need to hire trained, eager staff, Metro News can help with a recruitment campaign. If you need professionals or skilled tradespeople, if you're having a job fair or are searching for a uniquely qualified person for a special position, Metro News is ready to help you execute a successful campaign. Best of all, Metro News can broadcast your search statewide or narrow it to a certain region. For more information on how Metro News can help your employee recruitment be successful, call Joe Parsons at 304-346-7055, 304-346-7055, or email jparsons@wvmetronews.com. That's jparsons@wvmetronews.com. Metro News and your business working together to elevate our state's economy and make your company a success. Call 304-346-7055 or email jparsons@wvmetronews.com.
Hi, it's Tony Caridi, and I've got a great West Virginia story I'd like you to watch. Doddridge County's Clara Santucci is in the final stages of training in her bid to earn a spot on the United States Olympic team in the marathon. Her story embodies West Virginia's culture of hard work, dedication, and grit. In association with the Prim Law Firm, Pikewood Creative has produced a documentary on Clara's Olympic dream. Watch the video by going to primlaw.com. That's PRIM law.com.
Keep up with what's happening in our state at WVMetroNews.com. Whether it's breaking news or the latest political development, high school sports coverage, insights on the Mountaineers or the Thundering Herd, hunting and fishing news, or just the latest weather conditions, your source is WVMetroNews.com. Listen to podcasts of Talkline and Sportsline, or watch video streams of your favorite Metro News programs. You'll find all that and more with one free click at WVMetroNews.com. Metro News is the voice of West Virginia.
You might be looking for something to do on Christmas Day. The Lodge at North Bend State Park has a Christmas Day buffet. This year they got all your favorites, also a prime rib carving station, and they got pan-crusted fish. Should be a great meal at the North Bend State Park Christmas Buffet. Also, while you're there or any other time, go back and enjoy the 72-mile-long North Bend Trail. Find out more about Christmas Day adventures. Call 800-225-5982. 800-225-5982 to speak to an adventure advisor. Please welcome Chris Lawrence in our Charleston studios. Chris, good morning to you.
Morning, Hop.
And Brad Howe of Metro News Sports. Brad, good morning to you.
Good morning, guys.
Okay, Brad, where are you from? You're from Iowa originally, is that right?
I'm originally from Iowa. I was born in Iowa City, Iowa, and grew up in West Des Moines, Iowa.
Mm-hmm. What did your parents do?
My mom did a little bit of work in the school system, but mostly she was a stay-at-home mom, and my dad worked for what has now become AT&T. Back in the day, it was Northwestern Bell was the company he worked for.
Mm-hmm. You have brothers and sisters?
I have a sister that's an elementary school teacher out in Denver, Colorado.
Mm-hmm. So how did you get interested in sports? Because before you started working with us, you were in sports administration. You worked at WVU, a couple other places. So where did your interest in sports come from?
Yeah, I've always been a sports guy. I always played sports growing up, youth leagues, then into high school, and I went to college to play basketball and baseball. Ended up just being a baseball player once I got there. And quite frankly, my career in sports came about because I wasn't ready to give up sports, wasn't good enough to make the professional level, and sports marketing was really just starting to become an industry. And I was fortunate that we had a good family friend that helped me get into the business, and I landed for grad school at the University of Connecticut, and that was also my first job. Worked in their athletic department for 2 years, and I moved on to the University of Maryland for a year and a half, and then was fortunate enough to interview at West Virginia and got the job and stayed in the athletic department at WVU for 15 years.
Yeah, Brad Howe's with us, Metro News Sports, and also Chris Lawrence from Metro News. Now, Brad, you're doing a lot of broadcasting now with Metro News. Your role has increased significantly the last couple of years. How did you get into that?
It was, I've always been interested in it. Even back in high school, I did some play-by-play and color analyst with the varsity games before I was playing varsity. So I've always had an interest in it. And then once I had left the athletic department, a few months later, I was in Tony's office one day and going on as we do about something, going back and forth. And Tony literally just said to me, well, when are you going to come on the show and say that stuff? I said, I don't know. Give me an invitation. I'll come on the show. And that's where it was born.
Yeah. Chris Lawrence, we know your background from many years at Metro News and also from your outdoor show. You're from Virginia, southwestern Virginia. Both your mom and dad were teachers. You have two sisters. But I don't think I ever asked you how you got interested in broadcasting. I know you went to the University of Tennessee, but where did that spark come from?
I got a brother, too.
I'm sorry. That's right. You have a younger brother. Okay.
I'm the oldest of four, yeah.
Okay.
My dad, in addition to being a school teacher, was also a farmer, and he raised tobacco on our farm in Virginia. And in this time of year, December and sometimes on into January, if you got behind, you had to grade that tobacco. And we had a little building called the pump house because there was a cistern underneath that building, and there was a pump in there, and it was always warm, and it had enough room, and it was a good place to, grade tobacco where you literally stripped it off the stalks. Well, that was time-consuming. I mean, it would go on and on and on for hours at a time. And my dad, being of the World War II generation, I mean, and to this day is still a radio guy. He listened to talk shows before they were
Right.
cool. So we'd be up there way into the night listening to talk shows on these big radio stations out of Cincinnati and Nashville and New York and Atlanta and all these Clear Channel radio stations over the air. And then we got to talking about it, and he told me, he said, I think you got the gift of gab. You could probably do that someday. I said, well, and I did. And then when I was in,
I love that. By the way, that's the thing that our parents and grandparents said, the gift of gab.
Yeah, and that was his exact line.
Nobody says it anymore. They say you're mouthy or two, but the gift of gab.
And my grandmother bought me my first radio when I was in the 6th grade, I think, or the 7th grade. Or 6th grade, and it was a little blue transistor radio, and it ran on batteries. And when I was supposed to be asleep at night, I'd have it on listening to a ball game or listening to the Grand Ole Opry under my pillow, and I would always run the battery out. And I kept bugging Mom and Dad for money to buy batteries so I could listen the next night, because I'd always leave it on. It didn't turn itself off when I went to sleep, and it'd be dead the next morning. So finally, they bought me a radio that you could plug in. And I just always wanted to be that guy. It always amazed me that somebody in Nashville or New Orleans, I could hear them talking on radio, and I always wanted to be that guy.
Yeah.
Interesting story about that little transistor radio. I wish I still had it, but I actually took it with me. We were playing baseball at a friend's house, and I was batting, and a friend was tuning it, and I hit a foul ball that literally knocked it out of his hands and broke it into a million pieces.
Perhaps serendipitous in some way, or something. Now, were you, Chris? I think you're fairly much a rule follower. Did you ever get in any trouble or any trouble with the law or anything?
No, I never got in trouble with the law. I never got arrested or taken to jail or anything like that. But I was by no means perfect growing up, but I didn't do that.
Okay, so you were pretty well behaved. Well, your parents were teachers, so I'm sure you know.
Well, I didn't mean anything. My brother, if you could have him on here, he could tell you some hair-raising tales. But I never was like that. I was always scared to death because I knew I was eventually going to have to go home and face them. And I still, to this day, when I do something, I wonder how they would think about it.
Yeah. And your parents they're still living, correct?
Yep, still there, still on the farm, same place. Dad doesn't do much farming anymore. He's getting up there in years and has slowed down. He's still got his chickens, and he still raises his garden and mows the 2 cemeteries and the yard at home, and that's pretty much his extent. He's leased it all out, so it still gets farmed. It's just not him doing it.
And you have 3 children. Tell us about them.
I've got 3 children. My oldest, Travis, is 26, and he's got 2 children of his own, and he and his wife live there in Morgantown, and their children are Danny and Nevaeh. And they moved to Morgantown last year, and he works in the coal mines. And my son Hank is 19. He's a sophomore at Marshall. And my daughter Savannah is 14, and she is a freshman in high school.
Mm-hmm. And Brad, your mother's still living, but is your father still living?
Yeah, no, my mom's still alive. She's in Des Moines, and my dad passed when I was younger, when I was 16.
Did your mother remarry?
She did.
Mm-hmm.
She did.
Okay.
Husband Ron. Yeah, they're in Des Moines.
Okay. And you have 2 children, correct?
I do. My oldest is Gigi, and she's 5. Genevieve, we call her Gigi.
Mm-hmm.
And then my youngest, Kendall, is just short of 2 years. She's about 1 year and 8 months.
Oh, outstanding. Yeah. You told a neat story, and I have this idyllic view of Midwesterners. I'm not sure why, but I love the Midwest. I love people from the Midwest. And, of course, I'm a constant complainer and moaner, and my glass is always half empty. But you were saying there was a game when we were doing the football broadcast, they were going to play it in Iowa, and it was snowing like crazy. And you called your mom, right, about the snow, and what did she say about the snow? You remember that?
But I don't remember. What did
she said you called her, and they were expecting like a foot of snow, and you called her, and she said, how's it going, Mom? And she said, oh, it's not bad. They were expecting a foot. We only got 8 inches. I already got out there, and
that's right.
I already
that
got
was
there
one of those last football weekends, wasn't it? It was the one in Iowa City was getting pounded before their final regular season game. You're right, and I called and said, hey, everything okay? How much snow you get? Oh, it's not bad. We only got 8 inches, and that's Midwest. I mean, I don't know that there's a worse place in America for weather. The winters are just brutally bone-chilling cold, and your spring feels like it's winter, and you get about a month where it's nice, and then the summer gets that humidity in there. So, yeah, Iowa's not a great haven for weather necessarily.
But I thought it was just, we only got about 8 inches. I've shoveled the walk. We're all good. I mean, that's just...
It's a different mentality, and that was one of the things I adjusted to when I came here. Is there's a ton of snow, and I grew up around a ton of snow, and then moved to Connecticut, got a ton of snow there. So that was no big deal. I'm not averse to snow. The difference is when you get it here in West Virginia with all the hills and turns, and when you're driving, it's much more treacherous than when you're in Iowa, where things are basically flat and
you can
straight.
slide. You can slide right down the road.
That's the difference. Yeah. So a couple inches here versus there is much more difficult to navigate here in West Virginia.
Brad, what did you get? Okay, so quickly, what gift did you get early on that you really wanted, and you came out Christmas morning, and there it was?
You know what sticks? In the very early days of Nike, I got 2 pairs of Nike tennis shoes.
2?
That were the biggest deal, and I can still picture them to this day, Hop. Blue and gold, believe it or not, little foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Blue and gold with the waffle print on the bottom, and then the other pair that was my dressy pair of Nikes. They were tan with a blue swoosh, so I could wear that with little kid dress pants. But I got 2 pairs of Nikes, and believe it or not, of all the things I've ever received, that sticks in my head.
Chris, what about you?
Well, I wrote about it on the outdoors page at WVMetroNews.com. The most memorable gift I ever got was a 12-gauge shotgun.
All right.
When I was in 7th grade. And I was not expecting it. I hadn't asked for it. And it had been about a year that my dad had started letting me go hunting by myself. But I was using his granddad's shotgun that was literally held together with electrical tape.
Mm-hmm.
And it was probably unsafe. And I still have that one, too. But that one was all mine, and I got it. It was under the tree Christmas morning, and I went hunting that day, and I couldn't wait to get Christmas out of the way so I could get out and go hunting.
Yeah, you still have that, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. I wouldn't part with that for love nor money.
Brad, did you ever get a gun?
Nope, never have, believe it or not.
I never got any shoes, so there's that.
So there's the trade. We balance each other out, Chris.
Brad Howell, Metro News Sports, Chris Lawrence, and Metro News News and Metro News Outdoors page. Thank you, guys. Great stories. Merry Christmas to you both.
Merry Christmas,
Thanks, guys. Merry Christmas.
All right, thanks a lot. When we come back, Fred Persinger. Now, you know this guy. We got to dig deep on Persinger. That's coming up next as our special Christmas Eve edition of Talkline continues right after this.
It is the season of light, a time of faith, of family, and love. From the incredible display in Chief Logan State Park to the renowned Festival of Lights in Wheeling, the spirit of the holiday season is being illuminated for all to enjoy. From east to west and in communities all across West Virginia, the lights of the season fill the spirit with joy and wonder. As you enjoy this very special season and the love of your family and friends, we ask that you remember the hard-working men and women who work in our nation's coal mines, keeping the lights burning. And we also ask that you also remember our nation's armed forces. Together, they provide the energy and freedom we enjoy. Their efforts keep us safe and keep us warm. This season, as you enjoy these enchanting displays in the company of loved ones, please know that the coal industry is truly proud to always keep the lights on. We wish you a safe, thankful, and blessed holiday. Merry Christmas from the Friends of Coal.
Hi, it's Tony Caridi, and I've got a great West Virginia story I'd like you to watch. Doddridge County's Clara Santucci is in the final stages of training in her bid to earn a spot on the United States Olympic team in the marathon. Her story embodies West Virginia's culture of hard work, dedication, and grit. In association with the Prim law firm, Pikewood Creative has produced a documentary on Clara's Olympic dream. Watch the video by going to primlaw.com. That's PRIM law.com.
You're listening to Talkline on Metro News. For 30 years, the voice of West Virginia.
there. Just 5 more minutes. Almost home.
Statistics show that 80% of auto fatalities occur close to home on rural roads.
Cops.
That's why law enforcement is stepping up rural patrols and cracking down on impaired driving. If you are over the limit, you are under arrest because drinking and driving don't mix. Remember, over the limit, under arrest. This message brought to you by the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
At MVB Bank, we have one simple objective: to give you the very best of everything you could possibly want and need in a bank. That's it. We believe most people just want a really great bank with top-notch products like checking with cash back, nationwide ATM fee refunds, great CD and car loan rates, and more. Together with our awesome team and the convenience of state-of-the-art technology they can count on. It's no extra fluff, just good, honest banking. We're MVB Bank, your most valuable bank. Member FDIC.
Talkline presented by MVB Bank, your most valuable bank, member FDIC, our special Christmas Eve show. Please welcome Fred Persinger, the voice of high school sports in West Virginia. Good morning, Fred.
Good morning, Hop.
Are you originally from Beckley? Where are you from?
You know, well, I'm originally, I grew up in a coal mining town called Edwhite, West Virginia, which is down Route 3, probably 25 miles from Beckley. So all in and around that area all my life.
How did you end up, how did your folks end up in Edwhite? Do you know?
My dad, like a lot of West Virginians, worked in the coal mines. My mom was a stay-at-home mom, and we lived in a coal mining camp. That's what it was, a coal mining camp, and where all of the homes looked the same and all of that, all owned by the company. So that's where we grew up, and went to a school, Ed White Elementary, went on to junior high school. They called Trap Hill Junior High, and then I graduated from Trap Hill High School, which is no longer high school. Right?
Trap Hill High School, my goodness.
Trap Hill, home of the Wildcats.
What were your parents, what were their names?
Paul is my father's name, and Ruby was my mother's name.
Paul and Ruby. What was your father like?
My dad was a guy that just worked all the time. I remember him working very, very hard, and in the coal mines was certainly not, and certainly is still not an easy position to have. And I remember my dad getting old in the coal mines, if you can imagine that. He just, in fact, my father passed at the age of 67, and just terrible heart lung problems, and just couldn't recover from.
Yeah. How about Ruby?
My mom stayed at home and took care of the 4 kids. I was the only boy, 3 sisters, 1 older and 2 younger, and my mother, just a great lady, great Christian lady, and sadly had a brain aneurysm at the age of 58 and passed away.
Yeah. So your folks have been gone for a long time.
They have been gone for a while, yes. In fact, and my dad never saw either of my 2 sons. He knew Jan, my wife, was pregnant with Fred II, but he never got to see him. And then my mother certainly got to see both my boys.
Where are your sisters now?
My oldest sister lives in Eccles, West Virginia. I have the sister that is closest to me. She lives in the White Sulphur Springs area. And then my youngest sister, my baby sister Joyce, lives in Beckley. So they're all relatively close.
Yeah. I know, of course, you were in the Navy for what, 4 years? 6 years?
4 years. I was, I got the call from Uncle Sam when they were still doing the draft back in the Vietnam days. And I was smart enough to realize I did not want to go to Vietnam. So I enlisted in the Navy, and honestly, probably the best thing I did for a long, long time in my life. I spent 3 years on the flagship of the commander of the Atlantic Fleet, and all we did was the war on the West Coast, with the Vietnam and all of that, and nothing but peace times on the East Coast. So I've been to Spain and to Portugal and France and to England. I spent a week at the Mardi Gras in New Orleans, all over the place with him. I actually worked for that admiral. And then when it came time for me to be transferred to shore duty, he asked me where I wanted to go. And I said, well, I'd like to be closer to my home in West Virginia. So I spent my last year at the Pentagon working for another admiral in Washington.
So you sucked up to the admiral, and that paid dividends. Is that correct?
And some things never change, Hop. Some things never change.
Exactly. And you had, isn't there some weird story about you and Jan, your wife, living next to Ted Kennedy?
We did. When I was stationed at the Pentagon, I lived in McLean, Virginia. And what had happened, it was just, just like today, I don't think you make any type of money at all in the military. And I was a petty officer, second class, E5, and still not making a lot of money. So Jan came with me, and we realized after the first month, I can't afford, Jan, for you to be with us, and the apartment and the rent and everything the way it was. Lived in Alexandria, Virginia for a month, and she was getting ready to go home. And I was talking with a guy that I worked with at the Pentagon. And he said, hey, I know an older couple in McLean. They just need somebody to kind of take care of their property. They travel a lot. They have a full one-bedroom apartment in the bottom of their home, and you might want to call him. So I called, interviewed, got the job. All I had to do was take care of his hunting dogs and feed them when he was out of town, and Jan would help her keep the place clean. We lived there rent-free, and next door was Senator Ted Kennedy. And honest, true story, Ted Kennedy came to the door. They were gone. Jim and Virginia Hoyle were their names. They were gone somewhere, Florida or something. And Halloween night, he came and knocked on the door, trick-or-treating. True story.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
Ted Kennedy came trick-or-treating. How was he dressed? He wasn't really.
Do you really want to know how he was dressed? True story. He had a sheet over his head.
Oh, geez.
Ghost? Let's go with that. How's that?
Yeah. All right. Fred Persinger, voice of high school sports in West Virginia. And let me go back to growing up in, what was the name of the place again?
Ed White.
Ed White. At Ed White, I imagine that Christmases were pretty modest back in the day?
Oh, yeah, very modest. We always celebrated, always opened gifts on Christmas Eve. My dad, again, worked hard, but still, as you mentioned, very modest, but he always made sure the kids were taken care of with something nice, a couple of things under the tree, and always a nice Christmas dinner. And so it was just a great time for family. And those are memories you don't forget. It's you go back even this time of the year, and you go back and you think about the tree. Always a live Christmas tree. Always a live Christmas tree, and just a good time of just family, and not friends or anything, just family getting together.
Mm-hmm. Was there any one gift that you got any particular year that really stuck out to you?
I was really into sports, and I guess the one thing that I remember distinctly, I was playing Little League Baseball, and I got my brand new Little League Baseball glove. And I just thought that was the greatest thing in the world. I could not have received a gift that was any better. And I would rub that thing with oil and put a ball in it and make the pocket. And, it's in December, and I'm ready to play baseball. So I definitely remember the baseball glove.
Fred Persinger, the voice of high school sports in West Virginia. Fred, Merry Christmas to you. And Jan, good talking to you, buddy.
Always a pleasure, Hop. Merry Christmas.
Thank you, man. Fred Persinger on Christmas Eve.
Stupid pipe!
Oh, no.
Honey, are you all right?
There's a time and a place to do things yourself, but there are some things that should be left to the professionals. When it comes to building your dream home, remodeling the bathroom, rewiring the kitchen, or fixing the furnace, you need the best help and the best materials you can get. That's when you need to go to the Home Builders Association of West Virginia. Their members are skilled professionals and retailers specializing in your home. It's your home. Don't settle for anything less than the best.
Contact the Home Builders Association of West Virginia online at hbawv.org for a list of licensed professionals and suppliers in your area. Go to hbawv.org today. This message brought to you by our marketing partners, Lowe's of North Central West Virginia, Brick Street, 84 Lumber, Federal Home Loan Bank of Pittsburgh, ProBuild, SJ Neathog, Valcon, Wincor, and West Virginia Housing Development Fund. The Home Builders Association of West Virginia. Go to hbawv.org today.
You feel a strong desire to help hurting children and families in West Virginia, but you think,
what could I do?
Burlington United Methodist Family Services has a place for everyone. Folks to help with office duties in their facilities across the state. Professional and business people to help teach youth about their professions. Volunteers for their annual pumpkin and apple harvest festivals. And of course, donations of all kinds. What can you do? Search your heart and go to bumfs.org today. bumfs.org.
This is Talkline on Metro News. For 30 years, the voice of West Virginia.
It's in.
There. Just 5 more minutes. Almost home.
Statistics show that 80% of auto fatalities occur close to home on rural roads.
Cops.
That's why law enforcement is stepping up rural patrols and cracking down on impaired driving. If you are over the limit, you are under arrest because drinking and driving don't mix. Remember, over the limit, under arrest. This message brought to you by the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
At MVB Bank, we have one simple objective: to give you the very best of everything you could possibly want and need in a bank. That's it. We believe most people just want a really great bank with top-notch products like checking with cash back, nationwide ATM fee refunds, great CD and car loan rates, and more. Together with our awesome team and the convenience of state-of-the-art technology they can count on. It's no extra fluff, just good, honest banking. We're MVB Bank, your most valuable bank. Member FDIC.
Patient. Reminder that there has been some news today, and there was a derailment of tankers on a train in New Martinsville. That story, and apparently there's no leakage. That story is posted at wvmetronews.com. And also there was a storm, bad storm, that hit just south of Parkersburg last night, and some damage there. That also posted with pictures at wvmetronews.com. So we're still on the news beat here today. I want to thank you all for listening today. We appreciate your indulgence not only today, but all year long. And I certainly hope that you have a blessed Christmas season. Enjoy it and be safe. We'll regroup. No show tomorrow. Regroup Monday morning, and see you then. For the crew, I'm Hoppy Kercheval. Merry Christmas. This has been Talkline on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.